Well, let me tell you how a very small project turned into something way, way bigger. Let's get into it. Hello, and thanks for joining me again. I'm working on the Canyon, well, not for today, but for about the last week and a half, about a week. But these are all the parts that I've started laying out. I'm taking them apart and off the truck or whatever. So, like I said, this became a lot bigger than I thought. It was a small overheating issue that turned into something way bigger. I started with what was that? I started by just simply replacing the radiator cap right there. But when I replaced it, because there was all this nice stuff right there that I could see, I replaced it thinking maybe it was just a failing cap. But that let me know that I got a new cap from AutoZone, and that one I have to use channel locks to actually get it on and off, just like the one that was there. So two caps, really hard to screw on. This has got to be a cheap replica of some sort, and it's just not made right, especially in that neck area. So I have to get a new one of these is what I thought. But meanwhile, I got the cap. That was only like 10 bucks or something like that. And then it's still overheated on the way back from a job. So next thing I replaced was the thermal cooling fan. So maybe it wasn't pulling enough air through, because whenever time I hit the gas, it seemed like, enough circulation getting, through there or whatever, 40 miles an hour, 50, that it would start actually trying to cool down and everything, but it was just barely trying to cool down at that point. So had that issue. I had the issue with the thing there, which I didn't really think was going to be that much of an issue or anything to record, but here we are. So this is where I'm at now. Pretty much I have everything torn down, which this being four-wheel drive made this exceptionally not as nice to deal with. And luckily for me, there was like zero, like maybe one video of somebody tearing one of these down and actually doing it all the way down to the timing too. Everybody else likes to cheat and take the cams off and then lay the chain over here. I didn't want to do that, because what if it fell down one tooth or something like that on the crankshaft, and then it's misaligned with the timing. And I don't know if this is an interference motor or not, but I do know that I didn't want to blow it up. So what I have also noticed from I don't know if it was the previous owner or the previous owner, or who down the line. Oh my goodness. So I got the truck and there was a caliper bolt missing for the actual caliper. So I went and got that. Then as you know from previous episodes, there's the old thermal cooling fan that is probably still good, but yeah, as you know from the other previous videos, that this is one of the Star Gear adjusters for the rear drums. And the rear drums, both sides, I think one side was like just wore down to metal because it fell out because it was just so far out of adjustment. But there was multiple issues back there. I got that all figured out and everything. As you know, there's other issues with this, but look at that. I couldn't see that until way late in the game, and I said I was already into it, pretty far. So I went ahead and tried to just do the head gasket because that's what I had prepared for, but I'm pretty sure this was leaking. I mean, somebody obviously didn't put that on all the way. and just kind of left the clamp on the very end of it. Check this out. If you look, I mean, this is the clamp. It's a factory clamp, but as you know, a clamp that's been on there for a long time leaves an imprint. And if I can get this to focus for you, look at that. It's on the very end, and it's crooked. It's all what? So that was on the very end. It was awkward as what, and as you see, like right in there, it's got a ton of different, you know, just a lot of, you know, corrosion right there. So that's probably where coolant was slipping out of. But because I was in it for the timing, and I had already cracked the front case for the timing, I said that I can't just, you know, put it back, and I'm not that type of mechanic. So I went ahead and wanted to take the timing cover off so I could redo the gasket here. But then there was a huge issue with the oil pump pickup right there that is vertical. So that chose to be a really big problem, and trying to take the front cover off, because I ended up having to drop the oil pan. Keeping in mind this is 4-wheel drive, so there is a front differential up under there, and I went ahead and just got it enough to where I can get a wrench on the bolt that held that in there, and I was able to snake it off of there. Biggest part of this build, biggest headache, was probably the intake and that oil sump right there so far. So when I was taking the head off, I did notice that driver's side, or this side of the actual motor, the head bolts were damn tight. This side was not. It was about like 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 bolts. All those were relatively way looser than the whole other bank. So if I wasn't into a head gasket soon, it was going to be a head gasket soon. So I do think that was probably the issue, but as soon as I get this, you know, all put back together with that, you know, being the issue, then I feel like it was going to end up letting me down like midsummer, the way that those head bolts came off of there. So I'm happy that I went ahead and got the head gasket for it. But as you can see, tall tale, let's see if I can turn on a light. If you have coolant coming into your combustion chamber, then you usually have a darker piston. And luckily, I don't. So letting you know, yeah, it wasn't leaking, but I really think that it was really soon to be at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and start rebuilding this nasty head, because oh my goodness, the sludge and the nastiness that is just left in these areas are just horrid for me, in my standard. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect or anything, but I don't like all that. And keep in mind, I did, you know, tear this apart, so that could be some of the stuff that I put in there from you know, tearing it down. But overall though, most of this is there. Stuff like that was there. That's like stuck on there. Yeah, that was stuck on there. So that's pretty freaking gross. So what I'm going to end up doing with this head, because there's not a lot of performance parts for this or anything like that, you know, while I'm in here, because I keep seeing while I'm in here that are just like maintenance wise. But what I'm going to end up doing is clogging that hole a little bit more. But you see the burn pattern right there, and then you see the gasket where it sits. So what I'm going to do is try and bore these holes out a little bit and stuff some more, you know, towel in there. Gotta put the towel in there. But yeah, I'm gonna try and bore these out a little bit. I got some carbide bits down here, and yeah, I'm about to go after it, because I mean, can't make money without my truck running right now. So I gotta get this running. And yeah, more than likely I am going to go ahead and do a valve compounding and take all the valves apart and end up you know, lapping the valves just like I did on the Honda Civic, so to make sure that we all have a good seal and everything. Luckily, my parts are finally here, so oh, move this out of my way, thank you. Alright, this is actually the first time I'm looking in this box. Yeah, luckily there's a trash right there. Alright. Oh, that's good packaging. It really is. What's that? Oh, head bolts, yeah. Oh, it's heavy, yes. Cool. So I guess they sent me D&J head bolts. I have never heard of this company before, but another guaranteed and proven product from D&J Engine Components. Domestic and Japanese. Ooh, look at that. Domestic and Japanese. That's cool. Alright, well, going for it. A cool looking guy. Little pudgy. He must be eating good. Doing something right. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through here, see what's all in here, and replace pretty much everything that's in this box. Well, let me get this out the way here. It's old oil. Oh, there's all my other stuff too. When I do a rebuild, I really rebuild. I mean, I take everything off. Those are the rockers, the rollers. I guess let's just say rollers. But yeah, I break it all the way down, and yeah, try and do as much as I can. I'm gonna clean as much as I can. Let me get this box open. See what's inside. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, oh, it's a big pack. All right, looks like we have valve stem seals. Okay, we have something. I'm guessing the head gasket is in between. Yeah, you can kind of see it in between there. So, let's see here. Caution, not returnable if package is opened. Si lo abrí, no la podrá regresar. Sorry for my accent, or non-accent. Wow. Practicing Spanish for years, and yet it still doesn't work. There's also the manifold gasket, the top one there. Where's the bottom one? Or this is the one for the bottom of the side of the catalytic converter. I need the one that goes to the header. That should be in here. So I'm gonna go through all that and everything, trying to figure it out for what goes where, start replacing things where and what. But I do want to do the valve stem seals because that is always a popular item to go out and down here in the hot climate of Florida. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and do the valve seals too, which is gonna add like another probably 4 hours of work to this, probably, if not more. I don't know, but it's gonna be more than if I didn't do it. But I try to build things that are, you know, kind of reliable. So I'm gonna be boring this out, and I will let you know what they look like as soon as I'm done with that. And for the intake side too, and just for reference sake, here is the intake side, and oh my goodness, you talk about dirty. Let me just put some light on that. Ugh, super gross. I just started. Oh, you could see the cakiness. Oh, that's so gross. So yeah, I'm gonna try and clean this up and bore this out just a little bit, and definitely clean it up and everything, but go from there. So I'll see you probably in about a YouTube 5 seconds or less, probably. I don't know, maybe just in like now. All right, here we go. A lot of shaving still in there. I mean, I had to pull some out because some of the, you know, napkins and whatnot were getting stuck. But you can tell so much of a difference. Really tried to, you know, make it a lot smoother than what it was, because there was such a lip hanging out there. So, got it a lot better, surfaced a lot better, but look how much I can't can't grab it. Hold on, try again. Okay, look how much of this stuff comes out. Which, I mean, there's so much more, because after the first napkin got caught on it, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to stuff this, so. Alright, well, I'm going to continue on. This is the exhaust side, so, and I'm going to take off the valves and do the valve lapping. I'm going to go see if I can find that compound, if I have it over there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and try to flip this around, get this all saddled up. And after a lot of cleaning and some stud removal, can you see that? That stud was stuck in the header, all the way in the corner. This is the intake side. Now, I won't say this is all done, but it is a lot cleaner than what it was. I actually started scraping some of the top side gunk out of there as well. I got a lot of the shavings out of there, but not all. I'm going to go ahead and start dropping the actual valves out of there now and lapping them, because I did find my lapping compound. So I am going to go ahead and start lapping the valves, dropping those out 2 at a time. As each 2 are actually removed, then I'll clean all the rest of this out as much as I can and actually blow it out, so then there's nothing left. And I don't have to worry about, you know, gunk being in that cylinder. Then I'll seal it up while I work on the other ones, but overall though, I just got to drop those valves way down in there. There you go. Not a lot of stuff down in there. I mean, the stuff that I just put down on there, but the stems look clean-ish. And it says intake side, so I could go to the, you know, exhaust side and actually see what's going on. But the fuel injector spray from the top there, and there is a lot of gunk coming from the top that actually was like sludgy, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning that up as well. This is all hoisted up on the trash can sideways, so I can start actually pressing those valves and trying to get the keepers. Hopefully no keepers fall into the trash can like last time. But I think I've got this. So I've got the compound over there on the floor, and I've got the valve tool right there. And I've got a drill over there, so I'm going to start ripping these apart 2 at a time, like I said, and start actually getting that cleaned out and the valves lapped. The bottom of this doesn't look horrible. I mean, it looks used, don't get me wrong. A few questionable spots, like right there. I don't know, that's like so smooth too, but for some reason, yeah, I haven't seen that, and there's no other spots that are like that either. But you can kind of tell that right here, it was starting to wear towards the actual combustion chamber if it wasn't already, because you don't see that anywhere else around any of the white ports, which would be coolant in this case. It really looks like this one right here was getting ready to fail, which would have gave me a number 3 cylinder misfire. I don't see anything else like that over here, so I really do think that I was right saying that the head gasket was just getting ready to fail. So it is what it is. Glad that you know, got the head gasket set and, you know, got all this done. So idea is just to keep moving on, cleaning up, making sure the valves are compounded and that they have a proper seal to them, which none of them look bad from here, but I won't be able to tell until I actually look at the ring around the actual valve itself. So hopefully nothing too horrible is going on, but yeah. Hopefully this will be done soon too, because I really miss driving my truck. I can park my Z for a little bit and let that, you know, be for a while, but this one, I kind of like it. I also like my Z too. I'm really looking forward to going drifting in it, but I can't really go drifting if my truck is down. So, it is what it is. Here we go. Another round of compound valves cleaning and cleaning more and then wiping stuff down and cleaning some more stuff. You get it. So, Here we go. Be back in a YouTube sec with another couple hours of work completed. And now 2 of these are off. I got them somewhat cleaned up right there. Looks worse than it really is, but that's all nice and cleaned up for the most part. I still gotta hit this little tippy top right there. But all the good stuff, all the making a power stuff is all right here. And I don't like the way that those valve seals look. I'm gonna compare them to the new ones or whatever, but they're not very squishy at all. They're really rock hard. Those are your valve keepers. That's your valve, obviously, and that little slotted line area is where you actually put the valve, you know, keepers in there. And obviously back here is your spring retainer cup up top and regular spring. Nothing on bottom for this setup. So, and then this is the one next to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep cleaning these up. When I lap the valves, on that shiny surface right there, you can see almost like the blackish area on that same surface that isn't touching. And it's not the same all the way around sometimes. I didn't check this one to see if it was the same. It's about the same. But you can see right there, on the bottom side, it's not mated flush. So that one, and then you have this one here. This one's a better example because you can see how the black area and that shiny face is on that same shiny face, but it's black. Well, that's collecting carbon and not actually seeding. The area that's seeding is just that shiny area right there. So that's why I'm going to expand that just a little bit by doing the valve lapping and getting all that done. I'll 2 down, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 more to go. Only a couple, so wonderful. And on the other side, I actually shaved it down just a little bit more because I could see a little bit better. So I'm gonna end up cleaning that out while these 2 valves are out. And yeah, that should about do it. Clean it up, clean it out, put it back together. So, oh, with the new valve seals, because nobody wants to leak oil or have to even change a valve seal. Oh my goodness, with your motor together, like, good luck with that. Anybody who's done that, I mean, pat on the back, because it takes a bit. So I'm gonna grab these, which look just about the same but new. It has that little flat bottom there and everything. I'm gonna check these out, try to give a couple measurements or whatever, make sure that all seats together, and go ahead and stick those on, start cleaning it up, and yeah, like I said, get this going, because there's money to be made and there's places to go, so why not, right? Alright, so I have one bank all torn apart, minus the 2 at the end there that I've already done. And I still have those to go down below, but I've got all these out and on the floor. So I've got the spring holder, little keepers, and then the actual valve down there, which I do still have to clean them up. There's still a lot of, you know, shavings and whatnot. Most of the shavings are out of here, but I still have some way in there. Most of them are gone though. So now that I'm done with that, and that's pretty much cleared off, before I clean the little heads of the valve stem seals there where it seats, I'm going to pull these last little 3 bolts that kind of fit on the inside. If you can see those 3. If you have to take off the head, don't forget those 3. So I'm slowly but surely cleaning it up. I only got 1 can of brake cleaner with me, and as you can see, like right in there, I'm scraping a decent amount of crud away. And I'm trying to get most of it out of here, but you can see it's kind of caking up in certain places, so I need to get my pick in there and do something about that. but it's coming along and looking a lot better than it was before. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going at it. I'm gonna flip this thing upside down, and nothing should fall out minus those 3 bolts, but that should be in the kit. And I organized it pretty well. So I do think I see a couple smaller bolts or whatever in that bolt kit. So exhaust manifold, gasket. I think these are the intake manifold gaskets. These are for the top of the valve cover, for where the screws go down into. Obviously the exhaust gasket. This is the EGR block off, which mine is already blocked off anyway, and I haven't taken it apart. Don't plan on it. You have 5 of these rings, and then you have 5 of these rings, and one of these 2 is top and one is bottom. I think this one, the ones that are fatter, go to the bottom because there's more heat in the head than the gas line. So I'm assuming that's how it goes, but I have it off over there and I'm going to take that apart. I don't know what this one is for yet. And then we got this weird looking one right here. So this is for the upper coolant hose passage, and that's for the this is for the spark plug. It's a valve cover gaskets. Not sure this one, not sure that one yet, or that one, for that matter. One of these is the throttle body. I think this one is the throttle body, but that still leaves these 2 at least, and then these 2 little ones right there. That's obviously the valve cover one right over there, but I got it all pretty much planned out what it's supposed to be. I got everything over there all, you know, sitting nice and just waiting for a good rebuild and some assembly lube in there. So I'm gonna go after it, get that all done, and they're over there in the end of the pile of the stuff. That right there would be my fuel injector. So later I'm gonna take that apart and deal with that, but this is where I'm at. And so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this upside down and then get something soft yet nice like that to use my valve grinding compound on, so then I can actually get these ground down. Because if you see where my hands are at, like to grab that valve, like I can't get my drill on there at all, so I had to do it by hand and pretty much like use one finger to hold it up and then use the other one just to twist, and that took a lot of effort just to do those 2. And like I said, I've got like 18 more, I think, so I'm gonna see what I can do. There's some sludge, but I'm gonna see what I can do, get it cleaned up even further and keep on going and get all the rest of these ones done. Probably do them all at the same time, drop them just like I did that. It makes it easier once I get set up with the right position. It was kind of nice to use that bolt, this bolt, if you want to zoom in there. Focus. Okay. So yeah, that bolt right there, whatever that's sticking out of the bottom, that actually was pretty cool because I jammed this into into the handle over the trash can, so it held it up pretty nicely. So that works out. So just gonna knock it out. Here we go. All right, I am in the middle of it, and this is what I have so far. Most of the deck is cleaned up. I haven't flat checked it or anything. I only have a bar like that big, so it's nothing to go from corner to corner and you check that way or anything, but I do think it'll be an improvement. So those are the 2 that you see me get done there. I still have these 2 over here to do. I believe that would be the exhaust side. So intake is there, it's all cleaned up and everything, bladed it, like it's pretty smooth. Still got some dirt and whatnot on there, so like I said, I'm still cleaning up, but I started lapping the valves, and these 2, as you can see, are lapped on that little gray area right there versus not. And that gets really questionable when you start staring at the difference or whatever, because that really helps out, you know, combustion, which you really need to have your motor run. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going, cleaning it up and doing a little bit of valve grinding. I did find a way where I can use my drill, because that's why, like, I think I told you that I'm just gonna flip it upside down. That's what I'm doing. I'm pretty much using my finger, a little bit of oil, and a little towel on the bottom to, you know, not create so much friction. As it's spinning on my finger, I press up some, and I'm pressing down with that, and that is actually spinning it, so I can lightly yet surely grind it, and especially way better than I did these two. So I think that'll work just great. I'll go down the line and keep grinding all these valves as I have them in line down there, and come back up, grind them, put them up here or something, away. I'm gonna put them away, okay? Flip them back over, put the valve stem seals in, and then I'll finally put this side back in, and then I just have to mimic that for all these other ones. So yeah, won't take long, just another day or two maybe. Lord. All right, a day and a half later, I have the valves all cleaned up. Well, they haven't been lapped yet, but I wanted to kind of show you a before and after, so you can kind of see the valves in the valve seals, how they look now. And again, up top, those have been cleaned. I still have to do the valve lapping, so you kind of see what I mean here between that and that crusty surface right there. Ooh, not looking good there, but it does look like I can recover it. So let me get this valve lapping done, and I will show you what all these look like right after I'm done. Alright, and here's a picture just for reference of the valve and the old one, because I still have to shift this over on my workbench here. But old versus new. You can see even in the pitting that even in just a few moments of grinding of the valves, I have so much more of the valve seat actually sitting down, and that works two ways. So that whole gray area there, so much more cleaned up. So this should ensure a more proper seal on the exhaust side of things especially. But it turned out so much better. Just something that I think everybody should do if you're this far into a rebuild. It's not something that, you know, nobody can't, or you have to have, you know, a rocket science, you know, degree to actually get this done. So hopefully I'm right about that. I am going to go ahead and start flipping this over. Well, I'm going to get the last two done, and then I'm going to flip this over, get the valve stem seals on the exhaust side, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and put the whole valve spring assembly back together. So that should be relatively smooth, even though I have to use that tool on the ground right there. That one is it's a workout, but it's all for a good cause. So hopefully in just a few moments this is all done, and I will show you the other side as this is all done. So here we go.